It's making me get bitter, evil, angry. I've never been before in my life.
Within the confines of prison, their names resonate with fear, striking terror in the hearts of both inmates and guards.
No more weakness.
These women, regarded as the most feared in the prison hierarchy, have cultivated notorious reputations marked by violence and an unrelenting demeanor. Whispers of their ruthless behavior cascade through the prison walls, creating an atmosphere of unease. Who are these formidable figures, and what events shaped them into incarnations of fear within the world of incarceration? Join us as we unravel the chilling narratives that have etched their terrifying legacies. Number 10. Mary Bell, the Tyneside Strangler. Born in 1957, Mary Bell, the infamous Tyneside Strangler, added her name into the dark annals of British criminal history during the late 1960s. She hails from Newcastle upon Tyne, England, and her story unfolds like a nightmare that began at a shockingly young age. Imagine the clock ticking to 8:54 in 1968, and there's Mary, just 10 years old, initiating a macabre journey into a life of crime. Her first victim was 4-year-old Martin Brown. The local community recoils in horror, yet the true horror is still to unfold. A mere 2 months later, the clock strikes and Mary, joined by her friend Norma Joyce Bell, strikes again. This time, their prey is 3-year-old Brian Howe. Mary's callous lack of remorse and empathy chills the soul. Post-murders, she defiles a nursery, leaving a note proudly proclaiming their deeds. But the horror doesn't cease there. After Brian Howe's demise, Mary revisits the body to carve an M into his stomach, an act of sadism that lays bare a troubling darkness. Sentenced to indefinite detention at Her Majesty's pleasure, Mary Bell becomes one of the youngest convicted killers in the nation. Throughout her time behind bars, marked by escape attempts and antisocial behavior, Mary exhibits flickers of transformation. Her case ignites debates about the responsibility for crimes committed by children and the nuanced treatment of juvenile offenders, delving into the intricate interplay of mental health, childhood, and criminality. After serving 12 years across various correctional institutions, Mary Bell emerges into the world anew in 1980 at the age of 23, shielded by anonymity to forge a fresh start. Her current whereabouts remain elusive, her past crimes casting a haunting shadow. Mary Bell's tale serves as a chilling reminder that darkness can pervade even the innocence of a child. It profoundly shapes our contemplation of how society handles young individuals implicated in serious crimes, earning her the haunting name Tyneside Strangler. Mary Bell's saga endures as a somber chapter in British history, compelling us to confront the unsettling truth that even the youngest among us can harbor unfathomable darkness. Number 9. Myra Hindley. Have you ever thought about what it might be like to come across a serial killer? Well, you could have. After all, they live in the neighborhood like every other person, right? Myra Hindley, the notorious figure tied to the Moors murders, had a seemingly ordinary beginning in 1942, Manchester, England. However, her life took a dark turn when she crossed paths with Ian Brady in 1961. This encounter became the pivot point that propelled her into a realm of unimaginable cruelty and ruthlessness. In 1963, a year shadowed by the mysterious disappearance of several children in Greater Manchester, Myra Hindley and Ian Brady embarked on a spree of heinous crimes. Their victims, Pauline Reed, John Kilbride, Keith Bennett, Leslie Ann Downey, and Edward Evans, ranged from 10 to 17 years old. These atrocities became known as the Moors murders, named after the desolate Saddleworth Moor where the victims' bodies were callously buried. Myra Hindley played a key role in these killings, using her innocent appearance as a deceptive lure for unsuspecting children. Promising rides or offers of help, she trapped these innocent souls, subjecting them to unimaginable torment alongside Brady. Their actions were marked by a chilling lack of empathy, painting a vivid picture of profound malevolence. Throughout the trial, Hindley maintained a disturbingly calm demeanor, showing no remorse for her actions. In 1966, she was found guilty of 2 murders and being an accessory to a third, resulting in a life imprisonment sentence. Despite numerous appeals, Hindley remained behind bars until her death in 2002. Hindley's crimes cast such a dark shadow that she became a symbol of pure evil in the public eye. Her name forever linked to the horrifying brutality of the Moors murders, her infamous mugshot staring coldly into the camera, remains an enduring image of her ruthlessness. Myra Hindley's role in the Moors murders solidified her as one of Britain's most notorious criminals, her actions standing as a harrowing testimony to the monstrous capacity within humanity. Today, Hindley continues to be a subject of study in criminology and forensic psychology, offering vital insights into the nature of psychopathy and the disturbing dynamics of criminal partnerships. Number 8. Rebecca Butterfly. In 2009, Rebecca Butterfield, a female prison officer in the self-harm unit, investigated a troubling incident involving herself. At Silverwater Women's Correctional Center in Sydney, she was considered the most dangerous inmate, with a record spanning dozens of pages, including stabbing an officer and throwing boiling water. Butterfield, from a respected family in a small town, entered the prison system in 2000 for less serious offenses. Her violent behavior escalated, leading to a 3-year sentence after stabbing a neighbor during self-harm episodes. Prison psychiatrists identified severe personality disorders contributing to her rage. On May 7, 2003, inside Emu Plains Correctional Center, Butterfield crossed a significant line by brutally attacking Filipina businesswoman Blue Slim Ward, who was close to completing her sentence for fraud. Convicted of manslaughter, Butterfield was transferred to the maximum security Malawa Women's Prison. Due to her danger to inmates and officers, precautions were taken at Silverwater as she frequently inflicted self-harm. Despite efforts to prevent access to sharp objects, Butterfield continued harming herself, even severely cutting her own throat and setting her cell on fire. In 2009, a senior prison officer responding to a thudding sound found Butterfield with a brutally fractured skull, having repeatedly headbutted the wall. In the same year, the New South Wales Supreme Court deemed her too dangerous for release upon completing her sentence. She was expected for release in late 2020, but the New South Wales government argued in 2020 that ongoing violent attacks justified keeping her in prison until at least 2023, marking her 3rd denial of freedom. Number 7. Aileen Wuornos. Aileen Wuornos, born on February 29, 1956 in Rochester, Michigan, emerged as a notorious figure in the late 1980s and early 1990s due to her involvement in a series of murders. Convicted of killing 7 men between 1989 and 1990, she faced execution by lethal injection in Florida in 2002. Wuornos's troubled upbringing, marked by physical and substance abuse, led her to a transient lifestyle and involvement in criminal activities. As a teenager, she turned to street work, where she claimed to have been a victim of some clients. Her crime spree began in 1989, targeting middle-aged men whom she alleged had attacked her during these encounters. Operating across multiple states, including Florida, Michigan, and Ohio, Wuornos would shoot her victims in secluded locations, robbing them of their belongings. Her capture in 1991 triggered a high-profile trial that attracted significant media attention, eliciting both sympathy and condemnation from the public. During legal proceedings, Wuornos argued self-defense, attributing her actions to the abuse she suffered. However, prosecutors contended that her motive was plain robbery. In 1992, she was convicted of 6 counts of first-degree murder and later pleaded guilty to a 7th, receiving multiple death sentences. Throughout her trials, Wuornos displayed signs of mental instability, fueling debates about her mental state and competency. Supporters cited her traumatic background as a street worker, while others viewed her as a cold-blooded killer deserving of the death penalty. In October 9, 2002, Wuornos was executed by lethal injection. Surprisingly, she declined a last meal, opting for a simple cup of coffee. Her final words expressed a surreal sentiment about sailing with the Rock and returning like Independence Day with Jesus. After her execution, Wuornos's remains were cremated, and her ashes were scattered beneath a tree in her hometown in Michigan by her childhood friend Dawn Botkins. She became the second woman in Florida and the 10th in the United States to be executed following the reinstatement of capital punishment in 1976. Number 6. Beverly Allitt. Beverly Allitt, known as the Angel of Death, turned her role as an English pediatric nurse into a bone-chilling murder spree, earning her the ominous moniker. Born in 1968, her crimes stand out as some of the most shocking instances of medical malpractice and child abuse in the history of the United Kingdom. In 1991, at Grantham and Kesteven Hospital in Lincolnshire, Allitt's reign of terror unfolded over 59 days. 13 children under her care experienced inexplicable cardiac arrests and severe symptoms, with 4 tragically not surviving. The sudden surge in pediatric emergencies baffled medical staff until suspicion pointed to Allitt. Further investigation revealed traits of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a mental disorder where a caregiver induces illness for attention or sympathy. It became apparent that Allitt was harming the children to later rescue them, seeking praise for her medical interventions. Her murderous spree came to an end with her arrest in 1991, sparking a nationally sensational trial that sent shockwaves through the public. In 1993, Allitt was convicted for the murder of 4 children, attempted murder of 3 others, and causing grievous bodily harm to 6 more. She received 13 concurrent life imprisonment terms. Behind bars, Allitt continued to display attention-seeking tendencies, engaging in self-harm and multiple suicide attempts, believed to be further manifestations of her Munchausen syndrome. Allitt's story has been extensively studied in forensic psychology, providing insights into disorders like Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Her murderous rampage prompted significant changes in pediatric nursing and hospital policies in the United Kingdom to prevent similar incidents. Hey there! Are you ready for another mind-blowing subscribers pick? Today we're delving deep into the captivating realm of the most feared woman in prison. Can you feel the suspense building up? Now let's start by posing a couple of questions that will ignite your curiosity. Ever wondered what it takes to become the most feared person in a place where toughness is a currency? Can you imagine a scenario where someone's reputation inside prison is scarier than the actual bars themselves? Imagine a world where alliances are crucial, trust is a rare commodity, and survival is an art form. Our story revolves around specific characters who have earned the notorious title of the most feared woman in prison. But what sets her apart? It's not just brute strength. It's a psychological chess game, a tale of survival, and a journey that takes unexpected turns. How did she manage to thrive in a place designed to break spirits? Rumor has it she mastered the art of psychological warfare, leaving an indelible mark that transcends prison walls. It's a narrative that goes beyond surface-level intimidation, delving into the complexities of human resilience in the face of adversity. Now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts, speculations, and burning questions in the comments below. What does it really take to earn the title of the most feared woman in prison? Let's continue as we unravel this gripping story together. Number 5. Janine Jones. In the quiet corridors of San Antonio, Texas, Janine Jones emerged as a figure shrouded in the sinister cloak of a pediatric nurse turned serial killer. Born on a fateful July 13th in 1950, her journey would weave through various medical facilities, leaving a trail of unimaginable horror in its wake. Between the years 1980 and 1982, Jones meticulously executed a chilling series of crimes that would haunt the medical community. Her stage was set at Bexar County Hospital, now a university hospital, and the pediatric clinic in Kerrville, Texas. Here, she cunningly planned and executed her nefarious deeds, administering lethal doses of medications like heparin, digoxin, and succinylcholine to infants and children under her care. What drove Jones to such malevolence remains an enigma. Theories abound, ranging from a craving for attention and heroism associated with reviving the children she harmed, to darker speculations about manipulating medical outcomes or showcasing her nursing prowess. However, the true motivations behind her macabre acts elude even the most fervent investigators. Suspicions surrounding Jones escalated dramatically during her tenure at Bexar County Hospital. Between May and December 1981, a disturbing number of infants, around 20 in total, experienced cardiac arrest or bleeding, leading to their tragic demise. The hospital staff, including Jones, faced intense scrutiny during an investigation prompted by the alarming frequency of medical emergencies and deaths. Shockingly, one of Jones's colleagues directly accused her of involvement in the deaths. This accusation, although staggering given Jones's respected position as a nurse, lacked concrete evidence. In a puzzling turn of events, the hospital opted to cease employing licensed vocational nurses in the intensive care unit, and Jones left her position. The matter was hastily brushed under the rug, raising questions about the thoroughness of the investigation and whether there might have been more to the accusations than initially suspected. Despite the cloud of suspicion that lingered, Jones found employment anew, this time at a small pediatric clinic in Kerrville, Texas, alongside Dr. Kathleen Holland. However, a bizarre twist unfolded as children who visited the clinic began experiencing unprecedented breathing difficulties, necessitating urgent transfers to nearby hospitals. The abnormal frequency of such incidents cast a shadow over Jones's actions, challenging the very fabric of trust within the medical community. The year 1985 marked a turning point in Jones's dark saga. She received a 99-year prison sentence for the killing of 15-month-old Chelsea McClellan, utilizing succinylcholine. Simultaneously, a 60-year prison term was imposed for nearly ending Rolando Santos's life through the administration of heparin. As of May 2016, Jones languished in prison, awaiting a release in 2018 under a Texas law aimed at preventing overcrowding. However, the pursuit of justice took an unexpected turn. In a desperate bid to prevent her release, Jones faced a new charge: the murder of an 11-month-old named Joshua Sawyer in May 2017. This charge, coupled with the possibility of additional charges for other children's deaths, aimed to ensure that Jones remained behind bars. The legal battle unfolded in 2018, with a judge rejecting a request to dismiss 5 new murder charges against her. January 16, 2020, marked a significant chapter in the saga as Jones pleaded guilty to the murder of Joshua Sawyer, occurring on December 12, 1981. As part of a plea agreement, 4 additional charges were dismissed, and she was sentenced to life in prison. The haunting question lingers: will she ever be eligible for parole, and if so, at the ripe age of 87? Number 4. Griselda Blanco. Griselda Blanco, famously known as the godmother of cocaine, carved a notorious path through the turbulent realms of Colombian drug trafficking during the tumultuous decades of the 1970s and 1980s. Born into poverty on February 15, 1943 in Cartagena, Blanco's journey from destitution to dominance is a saga marked by cunning, ruthlessness, and audacity. Her rise unfolded within the infamous Medellin cartel, a formidable drug trafficking organization responsible for saturating the United States with staggering amounts of cocaine. Emerging from the slums of Medellin, Blanco dove into a life of crime during her youth. By her early 20s, she seamlessly transitioned into the perilous world of drug trafficking, swiftly gaining a reputation as a shrewd and fearless operator. Blanco's distinctiveness lay in her strategic alliances, violent tactics, and an unwavering approach to her illicit ventures. Within the cartel, she played a pivotal role, expanding the cocaine trade by pioneering new smuggling methods and routes. Her ingenuity reached chilling heights, employing techniques such as using hollowed-out corpses to transport drugs and enlisting women as mules to elude suspicion. Blanco's notoriety transcended her criminal enterprises, encompassing a litany of violent acts. She was a trailblazer of motorcycle drive-by shootings, as evidenced in 1979 during the infamous Dade County shopping mall massacre, resulting in the deaths of 4 individuals. Her ruthlessness knew no bounds, exemplified by her direct involvement in the demise of Alberto Bravo and his 6 bodyguards over a dispute about drug funds. Disturbingly, Blanco exhibited a lack of hesitation in harming children. Her criminal repertoire extended to engaging in bisexual acts and orchestrating female orgies, occasionally culminating in the execution of participants for her perverse satisfaction. In the 1980s, Blanco transplanted her operations to Miami, where she further expanded her criminal empire. This relocation marked the genesis of a brutal turf war, transforming Miami into a battleground for Blanco and her rivals. The city bore witness to a torrent of violence, with numerous assassinations and a reign of terror characterizing Blanco's unrelenting pursuit of power. Yet, as is often the destiny of such criminal masterminds, Blanco's criminal pursuits eventually caught up with her. Apprehended in 1985, she faced a maximum prison sentence of 15 years. Extradited to Colombia in 2004, Blanco found herself in the crosshairs of adversaries seeking revenge. The irony of her fate became glaring in 2012 when, casually exiting a butcher shop, she fell victim to a motorcycle drive-by shooting, a method she had purportedly pioneered. Number 3. Mary Beth Tinning. In the beautiful tapestry of motherhood, the profound connection between a mother and her child is a source of immense joy. From the inception of this bond at the moment of conception to the various stages of a child's life, the relationship transcends mere words. Motherhood becomes a canvas for personal growth and self-discovery, offering countless opportunities. However, the story of Mary Beth Tinning takes an unsettling turn in the exploration of self-discovery. Born on September 11, 1942 in Duanesburg, New York, Mary Beth navigated through humble occupations like waiting tables and even driving a school bus before finding herself as a nurse's aide at Ellis Hospital in Schenectady. Her journey took a significant turn in 1965 when she married Joe Tinning, eventually becoming the mother of 9 children between 1967 and 1985. Yet, tragedy cast its shadow over this family as each of her children met untimely and suspicious deaths. The names of Jennifer, Joseph, Barbara, Timothy, Nathan, Mary Frances, Jonathan, Michael, and Tammy Lynn became chapters in a chilling narrative. The first tragedy struck in 1972 when Jennifer, just 8 days old, reportedly succumbed to meningitis and brain abscesses. However, doubts arose as subsequent children met similar fates with no clear medical explanations. The authorities, smelling foul play, initiated an investigation in 1987. Initially, Mary Beth insisted on natural causes or accidents, but under scrutiny, she confessed to smothering at least 4 of her children. The revelation of her actions sent shockwaves through the community. In 1987, she was convicted of second-degree extermination for the death of Tammy Lynn, her 9th child, at just 4 months old. Despite admitting to the suffocation, the motive behind her cruel acts remained a mystery. Speculations arose, hinting at the possibility of Mary Beth suffering from Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a mental disorder where individuals seek attention by causing harm to others. However, these remain conjectures. Mary Beth is currently serving her sentence at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility for Women, repeatedly denied parole. Number 2. Nanny Doss. How does one maintain a cheerful facade while committing heinous crimes? The human capacity has the ability for duplicity and deception. Nanny Doss's story is a haunting exploration of the incongruity between outward charm and inner darkness. Born in 1905 in Blue Mountain, Alabama, her early years held no apparent signs of the malevolence that would later define her. As she matured, she developed into an individual who, on the surface, embodied the qualities of a caring grandmother. Yet this seemingly benign exterior concealed a sinister truth, a truth that would unravel over the course of her chilling killing spree. Her victims, a macabre list that included 4 husbands, 2 children, 2 sisters, her mother, a grandson, and a mother-in-law, were often those she should have protected and cherished. Instead, they fell prey to her murderous intent. The choice of poison, particularly arsenic, as her preferred method allowed Doss to execute her plans discreetly. The symptoms mimicked commonplace illnesses, granting her the ability to carry out her crimes without arousing suspicion. What sets Nanny Doss apart is not just the scale of her crimes, but the calculated nature with which she operated. After each death, she would collect insurance money, revealing a financial motivation that added another layer of darkness to her actions. It was a sinister blend of seemingly genuine care and a cold-blooded pursuit of personal gain. The turning point in her gruesome tale occurred with the sudden death of her fifth husband, Samuel Doss, in 1954. Authorities, alerted by a discerning doctor who detected inconsistencies in the cause of death, initiated a thorough investigation. The subsequent exhumation of Samuel's body uncovered a lethal dose of arsenic, providing the irrefutable evidence needed to expose Nanny Doss's malevolence. During her confession and subsequent trial, Doss maintained a demeanor that sent chills down the spines of those present. Her cheerful laughter and giggles while recounting the details of her heinous acts reflected a shocking absence of remorse. This behavior led to her nickname, the Giggling Granny. Nanny Doss's case transcends the boundaries of a personal tragedy. It serves as a case study in criminology and forensic psychology. Her ability to blend into societal expectations and manipulate perceptions sheds light on the complexities of criminal psychology, particularly in the realm of female serial killers. Scholars and experts continue to dissect her story, seeking insights into the motivations and mechanisms that drive individuals to commit such atrocious acts. In popular culture, the notoriety of the Giggling Granny persists as a cautionary tale. It stands as a stark reminder that evil can wear a mask of normalcy, lurking where it's least expected. Nanny Doss's tale remains a potent reminder of the capacity for darkness that can exist within the seemingly mundane, leaving an indelible mark on the collective consciousness. This story teaches a lot, and so next time you might just want to double-check before you go all out to trust anyone. Number 1. Joanna Dennehy. Joanna Dennehy, born on August 25, 1982 in St. Albans, Hertfordshire, became a notorious figure in British crime history. This woman's story is something else, and her involvement in a series of brutal crimes will seriously make you question where the heck her humanity went. We don't know too much about Dennehy's early life, but one thing's for sure. It wasn't sunshine and rainbows. She had a rough history, dabbling in all sorts of criminal activities when she was young. Fast forward to 2013, and she takes things to a whole new level with a crime spree that's both random and shockingly violent. And guess who the primary targets were? Men. Before we dive into the gruesome details, let me tell you, her teenage years were no walk in the park. Convictions for assault and possession of weapons were already on her rap sheet. But in 2013, Dennehy goes all out, luring unsuspecting men to secluded spots and unleashing brutal attacks. Her first two victims, Łukasz Slabojewski and John Chapman, knew her. Łukasz was a friend, and John was more than that. He was her lover. She didn't just attack them once. Reports say it was multiple times before she heartlessly dumped their bodies in a ditch near Peterborough, Cambridgeshire. That grim discovery in March 2013 kicks off a massive police investigation into Dennehy's dark deeds. Then comes her third victim, Kevin Lee, a property developer and her landlord. He met a tragic end in his own room, and his body was later found dumped in a wheelie bin on a nearby property. Dennehy's motives for snuffing out these innocent lives seem more like a twisted desire to play Bonnie and Clyde than anything else. After these horrifying acts, Dennehy takes off on the run with her sidekick, Gary Stretch. They zigzag across the country, spreading fear like wildfire. Everyone's on edge, not knowing who might be next or where the next nightmare might unfold. Cue a nationwide manhunt, and thanks to a tip from a civilian, they're finally nabbed on April 2, 2013 in Hereford. Now picture this. Dennehy's in court, and she's not showing an ounce of remorse. She pleads guilty to 3 murders and 2 attempted murders, acting like she's talking about what she had for breakfast. Fast forward to February 2014, and she gets a life sentence with a whole life order. Translation? She's spending the rest of her days behind bars with 0 chance of parole. The judge didn't mince words, calling her cruel, calculating, selfish, and a serious danger to society. Joanna Dennehy's messed up story is a glaring reminder of just how dark and twisted things can get. Her crimes leave us with a bunch of uncomfortable questions about the limits of human empathy and the messed up nature of criminality. Sometimes reality is scarier than fiction. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.